What's up, family? It's your boy Chappell coming to you with another episode of Recap Kickback. Recap Kickback is the podcast where I get together with you, the listeners, to dive into the world of Black entertainment or whatever else I decide to talk about. It's Black History Month, so we are in the midst of my February Top 5 series where every week we will rank the Black movies and television shows to find the top 5 of each genre to celebrate this supersized Black History Month. We got one extra day and we intend to use it. And with me, once again, this time to talk about the top 5 Black dramas this week, my co host who knows that Ray was released in 2004 and not 2014. It's Mari 4th, y'all. Mari, welcome back.
I'm glad to be back. I don't know how I appreciate y'all having me on Summer Jam screen and all that, but it's cool. It's all right. You won't catch me slipping again, so enjoy that.
All right, we won't catch you slipping this time, huh?
Nope, not at all. I'm prepared.
You good this time?
I'm prepared today.
All right. So, Mari, last episode, of course, we talked about the top 5 Black biopics, and people can check out those results by looking at our last podcast because it went well. We got a lot of good feedback, and we were able to kick off the kickback with a bang. But Mari, we are in for a special treat. One of my real life role models and inspirations, a literal pioneer from the RHAP streets, the spicy one himself has joined us from the Purple Pants podcast. It's the Purple Pants badass, Brice Izyah. Brice, what's up, spicy?
Happy Black History Month, people. How are we?
We're good. Feeling good,
Real
feeling black. How are you?
I am good. I was trying to get a haircut this morning, but child, everybody was getting the Chelsea grammars.
Not the Kelsey.
The Travis Kelsey.
The Travis
Kelsey.
That new appropriation look. You know what I'm saying? It's okay when they do it. It's a problem when we do it. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? Who knew?
Child, somebody came at me and said, well, the military has been using this for years. I said, baby, a fade and a buzz cut are two different things. But pop off.
Babe.
Not the same at all.
Oh.
They don't even know what they're appropriating. I'm sick of it.
In front of my Black History Month, really? Like to pop it off in the longest Black History Month we'll see for the next 4 years. This is how you want to start it? Giving Travis Kelsey credit for a drop fade, for a ball fade. What are we doing here? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Spice, for the people who don't know you, because this is a new podcast, we're all getting introduced at the Connect with the Kickback. Look at that. But yeah, we're getting introduced here at the Kickback, and I think people need to know where you come from, what you do, and now is your chance to tell everybody a little bit about you before we get into all of this movie conversation.
Yes. Well, listen, I've been kicking back before it was the recap of the kickback. But yeah, I'm Brice Izyah from Survivor Cagayan. Okay. You only need to see 3 episodes. I am the host of the Purple Pants podcast. I've been in these RHAP streets for a while. And I'm just so happy to see things like this being able to happen, and to have you and Mari kicking it off and just doing your thing is like a proud moment. I feel like a proud mother. I am sending my children off to kindergarten, okay? Because, I'm a young mother. So, I still am in high school myself. But, I am very happy and proud of you guys for doing all that you are doing. And yeah, I'm so excited to see where the kickback is going to go.
Yes. Brice, you and I have talked about our fair share of television as well. I know you and I have done some movie reviews, some of the ones that we're going to talk about today, possibly. And we've also talked about P-Valley, which, Brice, Mari, have y'all heard anything? Are we getting P-Valley back anytime soon? What's the word?
I haven't heard anything, and I'm getting scared now. Like the way they be cutting our shows, I need P-Valley to come back. Now, again, P-Valley has this trend of coming back like 2 to 3 years later. So hopefully it's just, them still running on CP time. But I'm hoping we get that next season for real.
I really believe it's coming this year. I think that we will get it in, the third quarter in the summertime, because right after the pandemic, there were people spotted like Uncle Cliff in the car filming. So we do know that they have filmed. So it's just a matter of when they get to it. But, I need my Uncle Cliff and Murda I didn't forgot his name. What's
Yeah.
his name? Not Murder.
Lil
Is it
Murder.
Murder?
Lil Murder.
Lil
Lil
Murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
See, it's
thinking
been
about
too
Monica
long.
and Murder C, but
It's
Oh,
been way too long.
I
look, that's a different love story. You know, hopefully that does come back, but Mari does bring up a good point. Issa Rae has been talking about this a lot lately. We are losing a lot of the black shows. Hollywood made some promises when everybody else started making those promises about DEI and giving black voices a space. And we've seen a lot of companies and a lot of industries really reneging on that promise. And so Hollywood seemingly is no different. We are always losing our shows. So please support these black television shows and movies. I don't care if you heard it wasn't good. Check it out. Check it out on your own. Support it. You ain't gotta bash it. If you ain't like it, cool. Keep it to yourself. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, let's try to keep everybody employed, black and employed. It'd be nice. Also, you can check out the coverage from Brice and I's P Valley coverage on the Purple Pants podcast. I'm sure it's still on the website. So check that out. And then hopefully in a few months, Brice and I can, kick it back off. It'd be nice to bring it back. Yes. So, all right. We've been asking for listener feedback because, this podcast is largely built on the responses from our survey about the black movies. But we've also been getting a lot of comments and we've been asking for 5-star reviews. And so we tired of being broke, y'all. So keep those rating and reviews coming. And be sure to go ahead and like the YouTube video below so that other people can find the podcast. Now, I'm going to go through some of these 5-star reviews because I love y'all and I want y'all to get y'all shine, but also because these are very nice things that people are saying. So from Becky, 8675309 says, love Chappelle, day one supporter. Let's go. E Roche 13 says, like the title says, if it has Chappelle in it, I love hearing him talk about pretty much anything. So I'm excited for this new venture. A lot of good stuff here. Brian Scally, of course, leaves a 5-star reviews. He says 5 stars isn't enough. So keep these reviews coming. Give all the shout outs and all the praise to the Recap Kickback because we're going to try to do big things here for a long time to come. Before we get into the podcast rankings, Mari, do you want to refresh people of how everything went last time? Kind of set this up. What exactly are we doing here today?
Yes. So today we will be discussing, debating, and revealing the top 5 black dramas as voted by you, the people, and us as well. So I will be revealing each placement of the movies. We'll start at number 5, work our way up to number 1. After we talk about the top 5, then we'll go back and talk about some honorable mentions. And throughout the way, I think we'll have some very good and healthy discussions about some of our favorite classic black dramas. If you want to be a part of the survey and a part of the show, go every time we drop one, our link for the next week is in the show notes and the show description. So if you want to help out for the next week, just click on that link. You can fill out and rank the movies, and any movie that you haven't seen, just leave unranked, and that's how it is. It's easy as that. So I'm excited because black dramas, man, this is a thick category, a thick one, like a lot of meat on the bone. So I'm glad we have Brice here to break it down with us too, because it's about to be fun. I can feel it.
I do have a gripe though. Who created this list? Was it like
Mari.
a combination of both of y'all?
It was Mari. It was Mari. I came here ready to fight. Let's go.
Lies and deceit. So, I created some of the list. I asked him for some input. He gave me some input. And wait.
So,
because we try to do just dramas, not dramedies. So if there's anything on there you're thinking about, we'll do it next week. Okay. Again, people have been coming at us for our categorizing.
I was having a little pillow talk the other night when I was filling this out, and my friend was like, why isn't Friday up there? I was like, you think Friday is a drama? And he was like, absolutely.
I mean
it does fall in comedy, but
yes,
I definitely think it is a drama though.
Mm-hmm.
This was an internal debate we had a lot too, because a lot of I think it's just, because the black community, we do use comedy to kind of like get us through the pain. So a lot of the dramas that are on here can be described as dramedies, or we try to go like pure kind of like drama, and some of the dramedies will be on maybe next week's podcast where we talk about Black comedies, because top 5 Black comedies is coming. So don't worry if you're waiting for your Fridays, if you're waiting for your Don't Be a Menaces, The Wood, you know what I'm saying, Baps, we got you.
Come on, Baps.
Yeah.
Then my last question is, who decided to omit Ease by You?
Oh, see again. Mari did the list. Let me tell you what happened.
You didn't input Ease by You. I said anything else.
Listen, let me tell you.
That was not one of your inputs.
Okay, it wasn't. But listen. Per my last email, that's what I had said, y'all. I said, Mari, listen. And I said this on the podcast, so y'all got the proof. We got the receipts. I said, we might just need a category for just the ghetto ass films, like the drug films, because you got the Paid in Full, the Bellies, the Boys, the Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. Like all those movies are a very specific niche, and they take up so much space. Because we could have done a whole separate bracket for that. And because we did it, we had to remove some of the other ones. Now, I also had to remind Mari that there are Black dramas that have come out in the last 5-10 years, because Mari, she doesn't know those. So her list was like
90s kid,
90 to 98, and I was like, hey, have you
very
tried?
tight window.
Yeah. So we made some, look, we tried to get what we could into the list. We're going to deal with the ones we have, but I was throwing out this idea in my mind earlier. March is bracket season for March Madness, so maybe we throw some more of these movies and have a conversation and kind of do like a tournament style to see, whatever we leave out, where they fall, because I just don't think 4 weeks or 5 weeks is enough to talk about all the good Black movies and television that we've had over the years. So I think that's probably a good compromise. Brice, would you come back for that?
I mean, if Mari is here, then yes.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see if Mari's here. Mari, take it away.
Am I getting fired on day 2? Like,
no. Mari, I won't let these people fire you. I got you.
You give them a little bit of power. So you see what happens. Okay, all right.
Mari, take it away.
Okay, so we got to talk about our number 5. That's classic Black drama. This one snuck in at like the buzzer. I don't know. I'm kind of shooketh. But we got to talk about number 5 is Harlem Nights.
Okay, so Harlem Nights, not to be confused with Hoodlum or New Jack City. This is very much a 1989 American crime comedy drama, directed by Eddie Murphy. We know it co-stars Richard Pryor, Red Fox. I remember this movie when I was a wee lad. I was a child watching him talk about Sugar Ray, and like it was like a gangster movie in Harlem. And I really, the thing about those movies is that I be getting them mixed up with each other. You know what I'm saying? So I'm surprised that Harlem Nights made it into the top 5, because I get it. It's a funny movie. Richard Pryor, I mean, how can you beat that? Della Reese is in that movie. They're very iconic scenes. But for me, it started to mesh with other movies, because I started thinking about Hoodlum, and I was like, Bumpy Johnson. It was a whole thing. So I'm kind of surprised that it's in the top 5. But the most iconic thing about Harlem Nights to me is that I remember that the Della Reese scenes, and I'm sure Brice will get into those in a second, they were parodied in different aspects on like different music videos and stuff. I don't know if y'all remember the Pastor Cavassier music video. I think Monique was like the Della Reese character, and she got shot in the pinky toe. So Harlem Nights, it's a big deal. Our listeners, you voted for it, and so here it is in the top 5. Brice, what do you have to say about Harlem Nights?
So again, I think that I was a bit confused as well. I think when I saw Harlem Nights, I automatically thought of Hoodlum. And for me, I definitely remember this. I am the youngest one here, so it's like my memory of a lot of these movies are different, but I definitely can remember like going to my grandmom's house, seeing my mom, my aunts, and them like talk about this. But for me, more it was the ensemble cast that we had at this time. Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Jasmine Guy, Della Reese. There were just so many. Tommy from Martin. Y'all see, he ain't people like he got a job. Like, yeah, like he actually was a working actor. And so I just love it because there are so many people. And again, it's the Delary scene where it's like he literally shoots her in the pinky toe. For me, that's just classic, classic, classic. But I love this because it has Eddie Murphy in it. And I was having a conversation, some pillow talk the other day, and I was talking about like black movies, black shows. And Eddie Murphy came up. And the conversation that I was having was about like it spun from the club Shay Shay with Cat Williams, and it kind of like just spun from like Kings of Comedy. Then we were talking about like our greatest comedians and different stuff, and I had brought Eddie Murphy up, and in this conversation I brought Eddie Murphy up. Like when people talk about kind of like the top 10 black comedians, I'm like, why isn't Eddie Murphy in that conversation? And then it just led me to this whole bigger discussion of Eddie Murphy, where like Eddie Murphy is a comedian. Eddie Murphy is a musician, right? Like, you know, he had a number one. Eddie Murphy has starred in so many great classic movies. And my question to my friend and my question to you guys is, why do you think like as a community, we don't hold Eddie Murphy higher than what we hold him as, right? Like when we think of Eddie Murphy, it's kind of like Eddie Murphy. Like, but when we say Denzel, it's Denzel. When we say like Will Smith, it's Will Smith. Like, why do you think it is like when it comes to Eddie Murphy, it's almost like, I don't know. I just feel like we need to put a little more respect on Eddie Murphy's name.
So for me, I know when this Club Shay Shay thing happened, I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Kevin on stage said that he remembers Eddie Murphy saying, somebody had asked Eddie Murphy, like, why did you stop doing stand-up? Like basically kind of like once you made it in Hollywood. And Eddie Murphy said that it got to the point where I couldn't tell if they were laughing because my jokes are funny or if they were laughing because I was Eddie Murphy. So that's when he like stopped. Like, so I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. And I think we do hold Eddie Murphy to a high standard. I think we just hold him as like a comedic actor because, like we said, he only did a few stand-ups, even though Eddie Murphy's Raw is one of my favorite stand-ups. Definitely my like top 5, top 3. So I feel like Eddie Murphy is seen as a titan and a giant in our community. I think it's just he also has like, for every amazing film that he also has kind of like a comedic dud, like morbid. So it's kind of like it kind of evens it out as to why he's not. And he's a good dramatic actor. He definitely proved that just recently with the My Name is Dolomite. But there's always, unfortunately, in entertainment, there feels like there's a ceiling for comedy. There's always been a ceiling for comedy. We're still talking about the ceiling with like the Grammys and stuff like that, and how most comedic movies don't get those awards. So I think it's unfortunately the genre is why he might not be in your Denzels with your Denzels and your Wills, because they are seen as dramatic actors while he started off as a comedic actor, and one does not also put him in the dramatic actor role, even though we all know he can do them both pretty flawlessly.
Right. We've seen Dreamgirls. Okay. Like, you know, like, I don't know. I just feel like we just don't give enough credit to, and again, I feel what you say, because with every great movie, then you get a Norbit or you get a, but I mean, what actor doesn't have duds though? Right. Like, I don't know. It's just like this conversation just went on and on and on. But I just also was like, I think, you know, I need to put just a little more respect, because again, he's a triple threat. Like he had a number 1 single back in the day. He was with his Gary curl. He was dancing and like he was doing the thing.
Yeah. We might have to dedicate. No, we might have to dedicate some unsung hero episodes to people like Eddie Murphy, who we just don't think get their just due. You know, to kind of deep dive into their careers. Yeah, and give them their flowers. That's a great idea, Brice. For me, Eddie Murphy is just known for both of those things. He's known for the goofy comedies, and he's also known for the big movies in a way that Denzel is only known for the big movies, right? Denzel doesn't have a Norbit. He might not have movies that you don't. He might have movies that you don't love, but he don't have a Norbit. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and I like Norbit.
Could you imagine Denzel in Norbit though?
No. And see, and that's the thing. Okay. And I think that's the thing. For every like Dreamgirls, you have the Nutty Professor, which is a great movie, but also a very goofy movie where he's in costume, you know, throughout half of the movie, you know. So those are the things that probably set Eddie Murphy apart. But this is not a conversation about Eddie Murphy. This is about Harlem Nights. And I think you point out the cast, Brice. That is the perfect thing for me to highlight why this movie is so great. Charlie Murphy, Miguel Nunez, Tommy Ford, Leela Roshan, Arsenio Hall, Jasmine Guy, Della Reese, everybody, the big names. It's a
Red
star-studded cast.
Fox.
Red Fox, these are legends in Hollywood, and especially Black Hollywood, A-listers. And so for them to come together and tell this story, this gangster story, I think it fit. Now, the problem we're having here with Harlem Nights at number 5 is that maybe, since we discussed dramedy shouldn't be in the mix, maybe it should be disqualified, because we tried to set these apart, but I think with all these movies being similar, we forgot this was the funny one. So Mari, what out of curiosity, do you know what the number 6 option is on here for the top 5?
Yes, the number 6 option is Poetic Justice, which was firmly in the top 5 when I first checked the survey. So
okay, well, justice for poetic justice. Brice and Mari, do you have anything y'all want to say about Poetic Justice before we move on? Because Poetic Justice is one of my NAs. I've never seen the movie.
It was my top 3. It was in my top 3.
I've never seen it in its entirety either.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I probably seen it once when I was younger, but I could not tell you the plot.
Yeah, well, it's basically like a forced road trip with like 4 people, and I like Poetic Justice because it's like, even though it still has kind of all of the stereotypical narratives about some of the movies that came in the 90s of like people trying to scrape by to make money and stuff like that, it also still felt like it kind of toes the line of a romance as well, because Janet Jackson plays Justice, Tupac Shakur plays her love interest, but they're in forced proximity because they're helping their 2 friends like do a road trip. So it's one of those movies that, like, for it to be, I'm pretty sure it was like Janet's first movie. I can't remember how many movies Tupac had done at this time, but it was like kind of like their natural chemistry that kind of held the movie together, and it's why it's like one of my favorite movies. And I really tend to like female focused driven classic dramas, so this is right up the alley. And so Harlem Nights slipped in there. I know I put it on the list thinking it was something else. My bad. So
Brice, when we weren't recording, y'all, Brice was telling us that this is how kickbacks normally work, right?
Yes. We have an art. There's normally an argument about something that there's a big disagreement, and at the root of the disagreement, a lot of the parties are talking about different things. And this is the time when people are standing up. This is the time when some of the family members make their exit. This is the time when I personally make my plate and put it in the microwave so that nobody know where my plate is at. But like that conversation was a classic kickback.
And you find out after the argument's been going on for 20-30 minutes, like, oh, that's not what I was even talking about.
Dang, like, I was talking about the other one.
You're right,
yeah,
you're right.
That's crazy.
But what I said what I said.
Yes, I said what I said. Okay, well, that's enough about our number 5 and 5.5, 5A and 5B on our countdown. Mari, tell us what is number 4 on our top 5 Black dramas list.
Okay, number 4 is securely number 4. This is a movie that nobody is going to get confused. Well, some people might get it confused with its comedic counterpart, but we'll talk about that another week. Of course, number 4 is John Singleton's classic Boys in the Hood. I mean, just one of those movies that like sticks with you. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a coming of age. It was like in the 90s, people just loved like talking about Los Angeles and the struggles that was going on in like LA and stuff. But of course, it stars Cuba Gooding Jr., Ice Cube, Morris Chestnut, and it's who's the 4th? I can't remember who the 4th is right now, but it was one of those movies that, like, to this day, it's like Ricky, like, you just know each moment. You know what I'm saying? Like you just could like any moment you pull out, and then the narration by Cuba, and it's just like it's good. I love this movie. Brice, have you seen Boys in the Hood?
You know, I've seen Boys in the Hood.
Of course,
Boys in the Hood for me
yes.
was like such a coming of age movie for me in the sense of
Mm-hmm.
it was one of the first movies I ever watched when I was younger that literally made me cry. It was
Mm-hmm.
also one of the movies where, like, as quiet as it's kept, before I could really figure out my sexuality, I just knew that if Lawrence Fishburne and is it
Yeah.
it was that scene where he got like them dice in his hand. I just remember thinking, like, you don't remember like he got the little thing, or is it the scrunchy thing? It's like the scrunchy thing or the dice when he's sitting talking on the phone with is it I don't know why. Is this Cuba Gooding Jr. or is it Ice Cube that's playing?
So Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yes,
is playing Trey
Yeah,
in this
Trey.
movie.
Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Trey for me. I just remember having a lot of crushes. I also remember just the iconicness of Nia Long at the cookout. Like, yeah, Boys in the Hood just is something that
Mm-hmm.
is uh just a whirlwind of movie. But again, it's one of the first movies ever that I remember just literally like being 6 years old and crying at the
Mm-hmm.
scene that's the scene of all of the movies. So yeah, for sure, Boys in the Hood is definitely up there
Yeah,
for
and
me.
Yeah.
this movie garnered a Best Director and Best Original Screenplay at the 64th Academy Awards. So John Singleton became the youngest person and the first African American to be nominated for Best Director. In 2002, the United States Library of Congress deemed it culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant and selected it for preservation in the National Film Registry. So Boys in the Hood
Mhm.
is a big deal. I love this movie as well. To this day, I'm still asking why Ricky didn't zig and zag. Boy, why you run straight? Why did you run straight? You knew they were shooting at you. Baby, we dodging bullets. Baby, we dodging bullets. You got to when you bob and weave. You don't just bob, Ricky. And so you watch that whole movie thinking that Ricky gonna be the one.
Mm,
He going to college, y'all. He's gonna get out,
mhm.
only to see that jump, duck, hide behind something. Ricky,
Mm.
goddamn, so not to spoil the movie, but there you go. That's Boys in the Hood. Number 4. I'm happy that it's in my in the top 5. It's
Yeah.
definitely in my top 5 for sure. So I was very happy about this. Love Boys in the Hood. Again, I think that some of these like 90s like in the hood style movies kind of blur together at some point, but I'm really excited to talk about some of the other ones in the future, and even maybe one day we could go and revisit Boys in the Hood and talk about it throughout the entire movie, because there's so much to talk about. Drugs, there's
It is.
Crips, there's generational trauma, and trying to get out of said hood, so all those things. So I love it. And if you haven't seen Boys in the Hood in a while, go watch it. Because again, the cast is star-studded. Mari, you forgot one other character in Boys in the Hood. I'll give
Who
you
was
one
it?
hint. They were in a lot of biopics.
Oh Jesus.
It is the Queen, Angela Bassett. She is
Oh
also
right. She's
in
the mother.
Yes,
she's in Boys
and
in the
Regina
Hood. So,
King.
and yes, and Regina King as well. So
But she
again,
just drops Trey off, right? Like she just
that's not the point.
get out.
She
That's
be
the
on the
point.
phone too. She be on the phone.
Yeah, listen, she is everybody's mama, and she's also everybody. So shout out to Angela Bassett, so far the MVP of Recap Kickback.
Yes.
Mari, let's
Yeah.
talk. What is number 3 on our Black dramas list?
Okay. So number 3, my personal favorite. I don't know how I got to 3. It's fine. It's okay. It's all right. Set it off. Set it off. Set it off. Jada Pinkett Smith. Dana Owens herself, aka Queen
The
Latifah.
Queen. The Queen.
Vivica A. Fox. And introducing Kimberly Elise.
Elise.
Introducing.
Yeah.
Man. This is my favorite movie of all time because again, it's a story that is like it's been told now. At this point, it's like it's been told, but watching 4 women who are so desperate in in LA. Okay. LA was going through it in the 90s.
It still is.
But the desperation of all 4 of them, just being screwed by the system, or just being in such a desperate bind that they resort to bank robbing. And even though you're like, this is a crime, but you're rooting for them. And even going back and watching it as somebody with like a crime scene background, I'm like, y'all, you're like, there's so many missteps that they made that they easily got caught for the crime. But also it has it has a really good soundtrack, and it has one of those so many moments where you are just openly sobbing. And it's really one of my favorite movies. I rewatched it for this because I was like, any excuse to watch that off, I'm gonna watch that off. And it also, I noticed it had like it had so many like slang in it that is like, you forget how when people use slang in movies, that it's so natural that it's to the point where it's like, I can't remember if this movie started this slang or if the slang was before that and it incorporated in the movie. Like, that's how natural the dialogue felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it feels hard, especially with like Black movies today. It feels hard to that you're getting like natural conversation between characters. And this shout out to F. Gary Gray who directed it. I love Set It Off. Okay, I'm sorry, I can talk about it all the time. Chappell.
No, Mari, what's the procedure when you have a gun in your hand? Like that is a
What's the procedure? What's the procedure, Chappell?
What's the procedure? Like lines like that, they stick with you forever. Like the scene with Lester. I look, there's so many many quotables in there. Sometimes you just find yourself in a bind, Mari, and these women were in a bind. They were in a bind, Nate. And so we watched the story of these women who are, destroyed by the system. We see a man murdered by the police, wrongfully murdered. And these are stories that, are still being told. This is not new. Now, what I know, Mari, is that we actually have the perfect person on here to talk about this because Brice and his social work background, he and I have talked about Set It Off before on the Purple Pants podcast. And so, Brice, tell the people why do you Set It Off is too low on this ranking, right? Like it's number 3, really?
I agree. Yeah, it is very low. And I think that, again, it just touches on so many systemic things in this community, with police brutality, with social work, with having a social worker that is not from the community, that cannot understand the lifestyle that people live. And although it might not be the lifestyle that you live, but that does not mean that this child is unsafe. There are just so many aspects of this movie. I counted $4,632 and you couldn't even offer me a water system. Like, those type of lines, for me, just take me out. And again, it's like, let's also talk about this. Is the first time that we get a Black movie that we get to see like queer, like a Black female queer, or even a they, them. That is the way that Queen Latifah's role was highlighted in this movie. I think for me as a young queer watching it, right? Like, I loved how they just, it was the person, right? Like, they didn't make this spectacle about, like, Queen Latifah played that role and her character was so ingratiated in this. I just loved it. And again, to this day, I don't even feel like we've seen a role like, mind you, I'm about to lose her name. What's her name in the movie? Cleo. Like, we don't even get to see, we don't even get to really see roles like Cleo anymore. And I don't even think that it gets talked about for its queerness, that, again, and how just it normalized it so much. But in my opinion, that movie made Vivica Fox, right? Like, I feel like that was the movie that people were like, Vivica Fox is that girl. And also, it's just like, I just be wanting to know, where's Stoney at today, right? Like, where do y'all think Stoney would be at today?
The final scene in that movie, of course, like Mari said, it's a tearjerker. We see Stoney drive off into the sunset in a way that you just didn't expect. And we don't know what happens to Sony, but we do know that this cast goes on to do great things. As Mari already outlined, we got the Queen, Dana Owens herself as Queen Latifah as Cleo, Jada Pinkett as Stoney, Vivica Fox, Frankie, Kimberly Elise as TT, but then also John C. McKinley as the Detective Strode. People will know him from Scrubs. Blair Underwood as the Buppy from the bank. You know,
as a good guy. What?
Yeah, as a good guy. Iconic scenes. What's it gonna be? Like it's just
Don't
so
let
much.
go.
Yeah, it's so many moments in that movie that just stand out. If you haven't seen Set It Off, what are you waiting for? Go watch it, come back and leave us some 5-star reviews because I need that money, you know. I need that money. So yes, great for Set It Off, top 5 drama. Of course it is. It just makes sense. I'm sorry. That is the correct answer. It should be in our top 5. And I'd argue it might be higher, but I don't know what the top 2 are. So Mari, take it away. What is number 2 on our top 5 Black dramas list?
Number 2, I can't wait to talk about who was right and who was wrong here. The Best Man. The Best Man is number 2.
Wow. Mari, you might not know this, but The Best Man is not in my top 5 Black dramas list. It actually came
it's not in mine either.
It came in at number 7 for me. Brice, where does The Best Man land for you?
So it's not even on my list because I haven't even seen The Best Man in its entirety. Because, but listen to me. Growing up, when I tell you my mother played that movie out to the point that it was like I just never wanted to watch it because my mom, like, you would come home, like, you could tell when my mom had a night, you would come home, she would have like her wine on the table and this movie would be on. And so it's like, as a child, I was just like, I don't want to watch it. I have seen the newer remakes, not the remakes, but the continuations of it. But I don't think I've ever really seen it in its entirety. So don't judge me.
Ooh, okay. Well, The Best Man is, like I said, it's not in my top 5, but it definitely is a great.
I get
great.
why
I cannot. Yeah, it's supposed to be in people's top 5. I will say that. The Best Man comes out in 1999. It's also a comedy drama, you know, I'm just saying, maybe, you know, whatever. And it is about the story of Harper Stewart, who is an author who is writing a book about him and his friends. And on the surface, you sound like that's probably fine, right? No. Harper is using all the drama that his friends have, all their relationships, all the inner workings of the relationships, and changing the names. And like everyone knows it's about his friends, but they don't know all the drama that each other knows. Harper he knows where the bodies are buried, basically, and he's using it to sell his novel. And so as the friends are reading the book, they're also coming together for the wedding for Harper's best friend and his wife, Mia, or fiance Mia. And so while this is happening, people are reading the book. People are finding out some of the drama, but then also the wedding is approaching. And so as these secrets are coming out, things get heated. We find out some big, huge plot twist moments that just derail everything. And it leads to 2 other spinoffs after that, 2 other sequels.
Yes.
So, I mean, The Best Man it is a movie that, again, star-studded cast, right? I love every person in this movie for every role that they're playing. They're perfect for every role. I even think that we get this might be introducing Regina Hall, who is one of my favorite actresses, as Candy, the stripper. I mean, it is, there is so much good in The Best Man. I know a lot of people rank this number 1. That's how it ended up at number 2, because I know that, like, my friends love this movie. I like this movie a lot, but it is such a good story. It's funny, it's smart, and it's dramatic. And then, like I said, there's some big, intense moments that really make you say, damn, that's crazy. And only to be followed up by 2 sequels as well. So The Best Man definitely deserves to be in at least this number 2 spot. Mari, what's your familiarity with The Best Man?
Like Brice said, I've watched it full through, and then I've watched fragments of it. And it literally was just trending like the other day because the scene at the wedding where Morris Chestnut just straight up punches Tay Diggs once he realizes like so quick spoiler if you haven't seen the movie. Um it, and he was the last one to figure it out, I guess because he's that slow jock brain of his, but
He
Morris
wasn't reading.
Chestnut, he wasn't reading it. He realized that back in college, when his wife, who Mia, who he's about to marry, when she gets her lick back, because Morris Chestnut, had been cheating on her throughout their college career. He was a star athlete. She was like the good girl or whatever. He took her virginity, and then he like slept on a whole bunch of girls over her, but she still stayed true and stuck with him and all that stuff. But there was one time she slipped up. And when she slipped up with his best man, which is Tay Diggs. He put this in the book, and Lance, that's Morris Chestnut's character, realizes it like at the altar. And so the debate was like, who was more wrong? Was Lance more wrong for cheating on Maya? They've been together for like 10 years at this point. I think, I don't, if I remember correctly, I don't know why they were just getting married, but like they've been together their whole college career and all that. And I think he went professional and blew out his knee, if I remember correctly, but I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had stuck with him through that whole time. Most of that time he was cheating on her, and there was one time where she found out and she was gonna leave him. Like she literally was leaving him, and he begged Tay Diggs' character to help him get her back. Well, that ended with Tay Diggs and Mia actually having sex.
It worked.
But it worked.
I don't
She
even
got
understand
her
how.
lick back and then went back to Lance. And so people are like, or is she wrong for sleeping with his best man? So
In what world is that even a question though? Like, I just feel like, again, I know the story, right? And the fact that that's even a question is if like she is wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion, blows my mind though, right?
Yeah.
Not two wrongs don't make a right, but sometimes a right make a right. So that's
No,
just my
hell no. I'll
go.
be the opposition here.
There we
I think
go.
they both wrong. They're equally wrong. How about that? Because Mari said she slipped up one time. You don't slip and fall on your best man's
it
your
happened.
home or
It
your
can
man's
happen.
best friend. You don't slip
It
and
can
fall on
She
your
getting her
happen.
man's
lick
best
back.
friend. That
She
wasn't
getting her lick
no
back.
slip up. She got her lick back, but it wasn't
She
no
got her lick
accident.
back.
But it wasn't no accident. Ain't no slip. She got her lick back. And that's okay. I think they both are wrong. If she felt so bad about getting cheated on, maybe she should have just left. Maybe that would have been, maybe she should have left. Maybe he should have stopped cheating. But regardless, ain't no, well, we even now. Ain't no even Stevens. Both of y'all is wrong as hell.
Oh, they even.
I think
They're not
the
even
wrongest person.
even.
Yeah, the wrongest person
She
in all
got
of this
a
is
couple more lickbacks to get back, in my
she
opinion.
done. Well, look. No, I'm not gonna spoil the sequels, but we see how the story ends. Anyway, so not to make this too morbid, but I do think Harper is like the focal point of this because he is the best man, the titular best man who goes and helps them rekindle this relationship. So there's a lot of layers to this story. There's also so many other people. I think the NAACP nominated all 8 of the principal cast members for Image Awards in the year 2000. So I'm talking about Tay Diggs, Nia Long, Terrence Howard, what was it? Morris Chestnut, Harold Perrineau, Sanaa Lathan's in the movie. Monica Calhoun is in the movie. I mean, who is not in this damn movie? This is like if you took the Avengers of Black movies in the 90s and the 2000s and just said, here, do something together. Y'all run and play, And so I love the film. I love the cast. They go on to all do great things. Some of them I think peak way too soon and have so much more to give as far as movies and television. But for me, there's not a lot of complaints with The Best Man. It's not a movie I go back to a lot because I'm not a huge fan of the ending. It's kind of like, dang, I'm like a happy ending type person. And so for that movie to kind of end and I'm like, dang, well, I don't know about this, it leaves me with too much uncertainty. So I'm definitely fine with it landing at number 2 for top 5 Black dramas. Mari, we have one more. We have one more movie. And I get the suspicion that my number 1 is not number 1. just judging by the vibes of these conversations, I don't really know what's about to happen. But I have a strong number one in my mind. Could you please tell us what the actual number one is, as per the listeners of this podcast?
I mean, if you want to take a guess, I would love it if you and Brice want to take a guess.
Oh,
Well,
Brycey, what you think?
in talking about the best man, I realized Waiting to Exhale was not on this list.
Somebody was. We're gonna
Romance.
save it for the romance.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
all
gonna
right,
save it for the
okay.
romance.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
That I got you.
Thank you. 'Cause that,
Yeah.
I have a guess for what I think it is, and then I have what I want it to be.
I have a guess what I think it is. Because I feel like the audience might be a little younger, like myself. So I could see, now don't kill me, but I could see the Django being high up there.
Oh, I ranked that dead last to keep that from happening. So we're gonna
Yeah.
hope that didn't happen. I think number one is soul food.
Mm.
But I didn't rank soul food number one.
You should. The disrespect.
What did you rank number one, Chappell?
I like Training Day.
Well, number one is indeed soul food.
Okay.
Big Mama didn't lose that leg for nothing.
I let the family in my house
and the family,
my husband.
Yep. Yeah,
so that is one of the, I do apologize for my delay, but that is one of the classic lines of that movie. And randomly and recently, I came across this interview with Vanessa Williams, and she talked about how that was improv. Like that line was improv, how they were working with a new director, and how she was saying, like, she kind of brought her experience as an actor, and like they were all working with the director, and how that was essentially an improv of her just being like, let's try it this way and let's see how it comes out. And baby, was that a classic? Okay, a classic line.
I love soul food. I do. But it's also horrendous. You know what I'm saying? So I of course I was just puttering around my house. So I had it on. I had it on like yesterday while I was puttering around my house, and it's just so many things. Like every year somebody comes back around and is like, Terry wasn't wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
It was one of those movies that you have to rewatch. Like you have to watch as an adult if you didn't see it, because it came out when I was like 7 or 8. And I remember the song, the For Mama song. Oh my God,
Mama.
Yeah. Every time I remember being on the bus, listening to that. Soul food is just, if we're talking about pure drama, this is the pure drama, classic Black drama. This is why it's number one, because it doesn't mix me with like comedy or anything else like that. It is just straight up Black family struggle, generational trauma, and so many issues being touched on at the same time. Like the one family member who has the good job, who has all the money, who has to pay for everybody else's stuff, who you know, doesn't get any grace for it, or people are just so ungrateful, you know, to the one person in the family who has all the kids, like you know, all the infidelity running around, Big Mama having to deal with it. We don't see their father, but having to deal with his gambling issues and how she took it like a champ, you know what I'm saying, because that's how you're supposed to do it. Soul Food is just so good. I never watched the series. I always wondered what the series like focused on.
Series, excellent. Was
it before or after the movie?
It was after the movie. It came on Showtime Thursday nights at 8. It really kind of highlighted Nicole Parker Ari and Boris Kodjoe. That's how they met. They got married. It was really, 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 really good. I used to watch that, me and my mom. Here is one of my biggest gripes in soul food. Now, it might be minor and little, but again, you know, I have a social worker background, and I always think with my social worker hat. After Big Mama died, y'all just let Uncle Pete live in that house. Like, I feel like there should have been elderly abuse called. Like, why was Uncle Pete living in that house by himself?
He wouldn't come out the room, Brice. Uncle Pete wasn't even eating the food at that point because Big Mama stopped cooking and Bird can't cook. So I mean, he was basically in there dying. You know, they just left Uncle Pete in there. It took a fire to get Uncle Pete out of the house. And he tried to leave with all the money. I don't know if y'all caught that, but Uncle Pete was getting out of there and and he tried to dip out with the cash. I love soul food. I love the sound. I love everything about soul food. I love the soundtrack. I love the cast. I love the plot. It's goofy. It's like Mari said, it's drama, but it's the drama that you can laugh at. It's not a dramedy. It is a drama that you can laugh at. You know, the scenes where oh man, Vivica Fox's character, when she's like the younger sister, but she steals Terry's boyfriend early on. Then she goes and marries him and has kids with him and lives a happy life. And Terry's sitting around, you know, trying to find
take it.
She can't take it. She can't do nothing. They love Miles, you know, and Terry can't keep a man. Well, it's like, well, if her relatives wasn't always stealing them, then maybe she could keep her. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Big Mama gets sick. The family circles around Big Mama as a focal point in the community, and they all eat Sunday dinner, and they go, and you know, she ends up dying. And then they try to use those same Sunday dinners that killed Big Mama to bring the family back together. So it is an incredible story. It is so much fun to watch. Like I said, it's not a drama that you are sad watching. It's a drama that you have the range of emotions, right? Like there are moments where you're like, oh, this is great. Oh, this is sad. Big Mama's passing. Oh, wait, there's drama after there. Okay, I'm invested. Faith did what? You know, then the end of the movie happens, and there's somewhat of a happy ending because at the end of the day, these Sunday dinners bring the family back together. And so it gives you everything that you need.
Yes, but also a 10-year-old witnessed all of this. Like Ahmad is the narrator. Like, how traumatic is that?
And that's the thing, Mari, that I love so much about soul food is that it is relatable. Like, let's be honest. I can think about me being 6 years old and thinking about some of the things that I have seen in my family that I'm like, I don't know if I should have been privy to that. But I think why soul food really is number one, because it really talks about the inner workings and the dynamics of, and again, I don't even want to say a Black family, a family, right? There are so many secrets. There are so many things that like we got to put on this good face. We got to be this good family. But there are so many different layers that I think that every family really can identify with. And I think that that is really the power of soul food. And it's just so relatable. Even like, you know, I think me personally, like in my family right now, like, you know, people are getting older and like, you know, I'm trying, you know, I'm always going to be the Terry, but, you know, I'm talking to my family about will and estate planning. And it's something that they don't really want to talk about, right? Because it's like a hard conversation, but I'm like, we need to have these conversations. And again, you think about soul food, like Big Mama didn't really have the things laid out in how the things should have went, which also caused a lot of drama and different things. And so Soul Food really just is one of those movies that is truly a classic. And again, it's a Black classic, but I think it kind of like ascends Black classic because it's just so relatable. And again, I just always have to bring my queerness out because, baby, the nights I thought about Lim.
All right. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Sorry.
That's how you end up podcasting about love after lockup.
I mean,
oh, there you go. Yeah. And there's so many situations in soul food that can spark greater debates. Like, of course, like you just said, Lim, his predicament of coming out of prison, having like a hard time finding a job. Bird using her contacts, which is one of her ex, to get him the job, and then him being mad about that. And ultimately recidivism strikes again, ending up back in prison. You could talk about Terry and what's Miles, right? Terry and Miles, where they came together as successful lawyers, but now Miles wants to go and start a group with Jodeci and Babyface. I think. Yeah. and she's like, I don't know about this. But he finds a younger woman in Faith who is like stroking his ego. But I just think there's so many situations that are so like nuanced, and it's so interesting. And I just want to say justice for Terry, because I mean, she pulled all them strings to get Lim out of jail, and she says it, and they're like, ain't nobody asked for your help, Terry. Like, okay, we'll send his ass back, because
But mind
you ain't finna disrespect me at this Sunday table.
Terry should have never said nothing, though. I really do. Now, mind you, I do believe in justice for Terry, but I do believe, like, in that moment, though, Terry, like, girl, just let him be home with us. You ain't got to be like, well, you know, I got you out. But I mean, that's just...
Well, here's my thing. It's like we kind of watch this as a child, right? So we kind of, that's why we relate to like the idea that this story is being told from a child's point of view, because this movie came out when we were younger. So it's like, yeah, we watched the family drama happen around us, and of course the adults were not paying any attention to us. And it's like, then you get older and you start asking a question like, how do you even know that stuff happens? Because I was right there. I was at the table. I was in the other room. I heard it all. I seen it all. And then when y'all start venting, y'all vent to the kids. Like, oh, let me tell you about your crazy uncle, your aunt. So, Brice, you say that you're the Terry, but most people watching Soul Food at the moment did not think they were the Terry. Brice, was you always the Terry, or you just the Terry now? Be
always.
Honest. You was not always.
Stop it.
Stop it. Terry. Brice, you swore you was Bird. You swore you was
not Bird. Now, I mean, I did want to do hair.
You swore you was Max. You was not Terry.
I mean, okay, maybe a little bit. But I did. I loved the fabulousness of Terry, right? Like, I just thought Terry was that girl. Another thing that I love about Soul Food is that we're talking about all of these differences about how, you know, Terry had to carry everything. Maxine had this resentment. Bird just kind of could do whatever they wanted. But what I also loved about Soul Food was the second they thought, or the second Lim did something to Bird.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what was going on, the family came together, right? Like, you know, they were there. And so it's like, it's this realness about a family where it's like, child, you know, I don't mess with Uncle Tony, and I don't like, you know, I ain't talking to my cousin right now, but let my phone ring and something happen, or my family needs me. It's like we will drop everything and be there.
Yeah. And it's real interesting, because I like, Maxine was so funny to me. It's like, why are you bitter? You got the man, you got the kids, you know, like, it's very interesting. And it's kind of funny because right now I'm the Maxine in my life. But I remember growing up, I was the Ahmad, like, because my mom was the Terry. In my family, my mom was the Terry. And
so is mine.
It played out exactly how I'm just sitting there like, like, and Ahmad was everywhere. I love how Ahmad was everywhere. Like, why were he bounced around to everybody's house?
He just went to the hospital on his own to visit his grandma, like, with no car, just got on the city bus. It was like, okay, I'm gonna go see Granny.
He was in a shop. He was in Bird's shop just randomly.
He was sweeping.
Samuel.
Yeah. Yeah, Soul Food shines a light on one of the stories that has plagued the Black community for so long, the evil light-skinned character. You know, we saw Samuel, we see Terry getting picked on a little bit, and they just got no love in this movie at all. I don't care. You can watch it back with a 2020 lens and say, Terry was right. Like, you know, she deserved better. But at the same time, this movie does not paint it as that. It really does paint Terry as the villain who got her money and stuck up. She can't keep a man. She's the problem, and everybody else is all family-oriented. But at the end of the day, the story does not happen if you don't have the ATM, automatically Terry's money. So Soul Food, number one, NAACP Awards, as we know, Vivica Fox, Outstanding Motion Picture, Vanessa Williams, Irma P. Hall for Supporting Actress, Youth Actor, and Brandon Hammond as Amon. We get, you know, Satellite Grammy Awards for Best Song. So you get, you know, a song for Mama, as we have alluded to, written by Babyface, of course, because it's Babyface. That's what he does. But yeah, so many iconic scenes, so many good lines. It's so quotable. If you're new here, go watch Soul Food. It's our number one Black drama on our top 5 list this week.
I literally had to go and look up the actress who played Cousin Faith, because I'm like, we ran her out of, like, I don't remember seeing her nowhere.
Work no
and
more,
I'm looking it up. She working with the white people, because she had to. She is. She working with the white people. I feel bad. She was on ER, The Closer, Private Practice. Like, we ran her off because we was like, not today.
Right, but that's also the gift and the curse of some of these roles, right? That you play,
Uh-huh.
that in this community, sometimes you are hated so much, you can't get work again. It's
You
it's sad.
you think we're gonna invite Faith back into our home after we saw what happened? I'm sorry, Faith. We'll see you on private practice. This is not the place
Those,
for you.
those bangs were diabolical. Diabolical. Don't let anybody in your house with them type of bangs.
It's
That
just
part.
like the lady
Mari.
that played on Selena, who played the
Oh yeah,
lady,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
she
yeah.
can't get work to this
She's
day.
done. She's done. That's
And
another black
also,
drama we didn't talk about, but we'll leave that one alone for a little bit. Selena,
not
we'll come
during
back to
Black
that
History
later.
and
Month.
also,
We're not doing
Black
I
History
feel like the
Month.
formula of black dramas back in the day is that and I think that they really need to work back on this, is the soundtracks that go with them. Like, can we
Yes.
bring back soundtracks?
Yeah.
Like, not just
Yeah.
getting these random artists to make songs and then you just put it on the soundtrack. Like, these soundtracks, Soul Food, Set It Off, The Preacher's Wife, Waiting to
Waiting to
Exhale, they were
Exhale.
curated.
Mhm.
They,
Mhm.
Yeah, the Soul Food soundtrack went diamond in my home and in my car and in my Walkman. A Song for Mama, Call Me with Blackstreet. What is it? The September is on there. The Monica and Usher thing that they do. I forget what it. Oh, Slow Jam. There's
Slow Jam.
so many on there. I had the VHS and it starts with Drew Hill performing "We're Not Making Love No More," and that is my karaoke song, Brice. You heard me do it. So that is soul food. That's why it's number one, because all the things that make a good black drama are in it, and it wins the day. So that's our list. That's our top 5. Mari, what missed the cut? Because like I said, Training Day is my favorite black drama, but I started to question, does that even count as a black drama, or is it just got a black person in the head of it?
Yes, Training Day was on air. Yeah, you suggested that one, so
Because I love it. I do. I love
okay,
the movie.
all right, exactly.
But I don't think it counts as a black drama. There was a black lead
No.
character, but some, like I said, I think Selena might be a blacker drama than
If you don't
Training
stop.
Day.
Training
Texas,
Day came
Texas,
in at
that's a black
8.
movie.
Would you
Okay.
consider
Training-
Bone Collector as a black drama?
Ooh.
I mean, if we put
No.
Training Day on here,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
I
the
mean,
Bone
yeah.
Collector, though. I do.
Yeah.
I see
don't
it
think it's
more
a
as
black-
crime. I think
Yeah,
I
like a
see it
crime
more as
drama.
crime. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What are other honorable mentions?
Yeah, so other honorable mentions include The Color Purple, which I did put in my top 5. I think could be recency bias, as we had literally
watched
just
it.
covered it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Do the Right Thing came in at number 9. Do the Right Thing. I think why Do the Right Thing isn't as high is it's because it's a very uncomfortable drama to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where I kind of had a little bit of problems of ranking all this stuff, because I'm like, this movie makes me feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't like, so it's not gonna go that high, even though it's a really good movie type deal, you know?
Yeah, you can say the same thing about Precious, which I know did not make our top 5 either.
No,
which
it's very low.
I like the movie Precious, Academy Award winning movie Precious. But for me, if I'm lining these movies up as to what I want to watch again, that one makes me feel sad. And some ridiculously good acting from Monique in that movie that just makes you go like, wow, like who knew? We'll talk about Eddie Murphy having range. Monique proved that she could do the things in that movie. But yeah, definitely was not surprised to see that it did not make the top 5.
Yeah, it's currently at 13. Juice at 12. I think Juice suffered because not that many people have seen Juice.
Which is crazy. I love Juice.
Which is crazy. I think we
Juice
got
is
a
in my
lot of
top 5.
NAs on that one. Juice is not in my top 5, but
it's in mine.
I get it.
Juice, look, that's like it's almost like a thriller, like a black thriller. It's so funny because at first sight you just think like another hood movie, but I mean, I'm saying, like, I don't want to give away all the things about Juice, but you gotta go watch it again, because if you haven't seen it, it's the one. It really is. It's like Tupac is a serial killer, like a legit serial killer running around the school, y'all. Like, I don't know what you thought the movie was, but it's like a slasher film with a gun, you know. So check it out. I love it. I'm sorry, people are not giving Juice enough.
Yeah. I now I gotta go back and watch it with that like lens on it, like that.
There are jump scares when you close the locker and Tupac standing right there. It's like, whoa, what is he doing? It's like, hey man said. Anyway, I don't want to look again. Juice robbed. Mari, where did Hustle and Flow land in our countdown?
Hustle and Flow landed at the very bottom. Hustle and Flow.
Boo! I don't even know y'all. I love Hustle and Flow. That was number 7 on my list, I believe.
Yeah, I like Hustle and Flow. I'm pretty sure I only saw it once when it came out. It's one of those movies that I don't know if it necessarily has rewatchability for me, because I did like the tale of the struggle, but once you've seen it once, it's like, is there really cultural touchstones to go back to it other than the music? I mean, come on, whip that trick.
Yeah.
I think the music is what actually is what it's mostly known for, and not really the storytelling aspect of the movie.
Yeah. Brice, question. Do you remember where you had
Yes.
Baby Boy ranked?
So Baby Boy, I think, was at like number 10 for me.
Yes, it is number 14
It was
on our list.
a good movie for me, but I don't know. I just didn't think like I didn't think it was great. Another movie that I was like, it should be on the list is one of the newer movies, but I thought Moonlight was a really good black drama.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I suggested that one for Mari
I
too, but she does
did.
not
I
respect my
forgot it.
opinion.
You want to stop coming from Mari, Chappell.
Thank you. Tell him to make his list then. Make the damn list.
Right.
She's like, she got you the degree and you know everything.
Yes.
The other movie we haven't talked about from our list is Menace to Society. For me, here's the thing. I like Menace to Society. I could tell you about Menace to Society, but at some point in my memory, I started to confuse Menace to Society with Boys in the Hood, and I don't remember. And so I just like, one of them had to go up. I know Boys in the Hood a lot better than I know Menace to Society, but also a good movie.
Menace to Society, I think it just gets wrecked because Don't Be a Menace is way more front of mind than Menace to Society, and it's basically a 1-for-1 spoof almost. And I can't wait to talk about Don't Be a Menace because that is one of my favorite movies, like comedies, and it's like almost it's the original spoof movie that, like, I don't think people realize how spoofy it is. It's kind of like its genre's version of Scream.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
but I think that's it for the list,
though, right?
Yeah,
while drinking your juice in the hood. Yeah. Brice, you mentioned Django. Do you have any strong opinions about Django?
So I think that me not knowing what the movie was going to be, thinking that it was just going to be a blockbuster, I didn't know what to expect, but I enjoyed the movie. Like, I thought the movie was like really well done, and I thought that like Jamie Foxx did a great job. And so it's weird because it's like I don't consider it a classic black drama, but I thought the movie was good.
Yeah, we're trying to put something new on here. I was stressed.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Mari was stressed. Yeah, I did not. And to be clear, I did not help. So there you go. But
yeah,
but as far as Django goes, I don't consider it a black movie because I don't consider nothing Quentin Tarantino has ever done is black.
True.
Yeah, and also Jamie Foxx did a great commendable job, but I don't think Django is in the same conversation as a lot of these films that just really shaped the way we were watching black media back then. Like you said, Brice, I mean, Best Man gets 2 sequels. The Soul Food ends up going to get a long running series. Baby Boy is on a loop on BT every day,
right?
For
which
like
I was
10 years.
Like why it wasn't higher. Yeah.
I think we got burnt out on Baby Boy, but yeah, but The Color Purple just got rebooted as a musical movie now, and so I do think that one is the one that for me it was always going to be dead last on the list no matter what happened.
And that was the one that he suggested, one of the ones he had suggested.
I needed something to be last. I needed something to be last. Listen, but all that being said, Mari, one last time, what is our top 5?
So our top 5 is Soul Food at number 1, The Best Man at number 2, Set It Off at number 3, Boys in the Hood in 4th place, and finally Harlem Nights in 5th place. the sneak
Yeah,
and
the sneak in.
Poetic
What was
Justice
six?
5.5.
Okay, let's
Poetic
give it to
Justice
poetic justice.
5.5.
Yeah, let's give it to poetic justice. All right. But this was fun. This was great. Again, thank you all for listening to our top 5 Black dramas. I know y'all gonna have some feedback about this one because obviously we were all over the place, but this was a hard task to do. There are so many Black dramas that stand out. We had to narrow it down to something. And so this just gives us room to do more of these countdowns later on and include the ones that are misses, right? The ones that we did not get. If there's anything that stood out to you that like, hey, why is this not even an honorable mentions? Leave it in the comments here on
Yeah, leave it in the
YouTube. That's
comments.
youtube.com/@recapkickback, and you can find our video. Leave it in the comments. Tell us what you agree, what you disagree with, but always click that like button and subscribe and leave us some 5-star reviews on recapkickback.com so that we can make sure that other people find the podcast so they can complain about it too, because that's the thing. We're trying to start a conversation. A kickback is a community. It's a gathering. It's like, again, smaller than a party, larger than the gathering. That's a kickback. So in order to be a part of that, you have to join in on the conversation. You can email us at recapkickback.com. I'm sorry, at recapkickback@gmail.com. Or you can tweet us, DM us, recap kickback, wherever, all social media platforms, recap_kickback for a little bit on TikTok. Join the Facebook community, this is hard to say, recapkickback.com/Facebook to join that community and to let us know what you think, and to encourage us to talk about more Black dramas and other Black movies. Mari, what's coming next week?
So next week, I'm thinking let's pull the trigger. Let's do Black comedies next week. Top 5 Black comedies.
Yeah.
I'm sure that one is gonna be
If you need some help
very
with a list,
good.
Mari, I got you. Since
Please send
some
it to
people,
me.
some
Send it
people
all,
don't,
Yeah.
because
some people don't do no work, but
I'm gonna
I
ask.
got you.
I'm gonna ask the Facebook group. So if you're in the Facebook group, recapkickback.com/Facebook, I'm gonna post something that says, "Tell us what your favorite Black comedies are." That is your chance to make your
I
list and
love
to have
that.
your opinion heard. And then after that list is made, we will then drop the link for the survey. How about that? So
Yep.
I'll put that in the Facebook group, and then by the time this drops, we should have the survey out for you in the show notes, so that you can rank the list that you helped us create. Because y'all so damn smart, y'all can do it yourselves, huh? So anyway,
Exactly.
yeah. So anyway, that was great, Bricey. Thank you so much for coming. This is a big, huge moment for me because this is like it's the Chappelle's _ show today. But like I said, I could not have done any of this without your influence on the Purple Pants podcast and on RHAP. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming.
Always and forever. Anytime you need me, I'm here. But again, I just wanted to be here to kick it with my girl Mari. So thank you, Mari,
I know.
for
I
being
can
here
tell.
with me.
Yeah, I can
Of
tell.
course.
Bricey, tell everybody where they can find you, what you got working on. If you want to plug Bryson Wynn Present, this might be the time. I'm just saying.
Brice Izyah on all social media platforms. The Purple Pants podcast is pumping out, new material every week of different things. I keep hearing this debate of if and when or not, but let me just rest assure you for sure that the Bryson Wynn Tour 46 is coming and will be to a city near you. You can check out Bryson Wynn Present on Instagram and Bryson Wynn on Twitter. We're back. I'm excited. The new season of Survivor's coming out. And we have a lot of things cooking over there. So check me out. Brice
Yeah.
Izyah. I'm around. I'm in these streets, naive.
Yes. And Mari, thank you again for coming back and leading these discussions about these Black movies. Tell everybody what you're working on and where they can find you until they hear from you next time.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2, like the number 2. Me and Matt Scott are breaking down the wrestling over on the Wrestling RHAP podcast on RHAP. You can go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed in order to subscribe there. Or you can, we're on the YouTube, and that's a great place to watch this week because this past week we did a Royal Rumble fashion review with the great Victoria motherfucking Cage. We tooted or booted some of the Royal Rumble gears. So I would definitely suggest you check that out on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube page. Also, me and Sarah Carradine, we are on just a 1 week hiatus from Crime Scene Podcast. But before we left, we did drop an amazing episode with Jason Reed on the Netflix docuseries American Nightmare, about the quote unquote Gone Girl case. It was an amazing podcast and an amazing docuseries. So you can watch the docuseries on Netflix. And then you can go listen to us by going to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed to subscribe there. I was also on RHAP's final Survivor preseason podcast, the Outbid, Outpay, Outdraft podcast, where we drafted zero vote finalists, and we had a ball doing that. That's also on the RHAP YouTube page as well. So that's it for me, Chappell.
All right. And as far as I am concerned, you can catch me on all these social media platforms talking about Recap Kickback mostly, but you can follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show to keep up with all my tweets and the other podcasting that I'll be doing outside of the Kickback. First, on Recap Kickback, you should be getting some coverage of Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover, the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith series. Puya's coming on to help me to talk about that premiere. And so if the premiere goes well, we'll probably double back and talk about the series as a whole, because it is streaming right now on Prime Video. So check out Mr. and Mrs. Smith and then tune in for the coverage from Puya and I, because I think that I kind of was watching it a little bit, but I think it's going to be a good show. So check that out. Also, speaking of Puya, I guested on the 90 Day Fiance wrap up with Puya. He's talking about, I think this is season 10 of 90 Day Fiance proper, and I got to come on and talk about some of these heated exchanges with these people, Rob and Sophie, and there's a lot going on, and so I got to go and give my opinion about the craziness that's 90 Day Fiance. Sasha and I will be covering Below Deck this week. It's back. Below Deck proper is back. Sasha is the captain, I'm the co-captain, and we'll be here on YouTube, on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube page. Check that out. You can check out Nothing But Netflix, the podcast I have with Rob Sesternino, and the other podcast, Suits Yourself, on suitspodcast.com, where Rob and I are talking about Suits every day of the week until Suits is over. Spoiler alert, it's over. But we're still talking about the spinoff. We're talking about Pearson right now. So check that out. If you want to join in on the conversation about Suits, you can always go back and listen to our older content as well. So subscribe to Suits Yourself wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to Leaf Vxllage for the Recap Kickback theme song, Wall Maria. Shout out to Mari and for Brice, of course, for joining us this week. Until next time, you all don't have to go home, but you know the rest. Peace out from the Kickback.